Hey, Proverbs chapter 15 is like this big, chunky, delicious advice gumbo. There's all kinds of really chunky advice, and it's real practical stuff about a lot of different things. But if we really feast on it, good stuff will happen. If we really feast on it and put it into action in our life, we can see some cool things happen. And it starts off with one of our favorite things to talk about, one of our favorite things to just think about, and that's discipline. Everybody loves discipline, right? It's one of our favorite topics, especially early in the morning. Everybody wants to hear about discipline. And verse 5 says this: "Only a fool despises a parent's discipline. Whoever learns from correction is wise." Ouch! Okay, that's not necessarily fun advice, but it's good advice. We need to learn from correction. And then it goes on and it talks about and asks us a really important question. What are we feeding on? What are we putting into our life? What are we eating? Verse 13 through 15. Let me read this to you. "A glad heart makes a happy face. A broken heart crushes the spirit. A wise person is hungry for knowledge, while the fool feeds on trash. For the despondent, every day brings trouble. For the happy heart, life is a continual feast." What are we feeding? What are we focusing on? What are we putting into our life? It's going to determine what we put out. If we're hungry for the right stuff, life can be like this big buffet. And that doesn't mean that everything's going to be good. You go into a Chinese buffet, you're going to like some of it you're going to be like, whoa, I'm not even going near that. But what it means is if we're focusing on the right stuff, and if we're focusing on the joy of the Lord, and if we've got this happy heart, and we're hungry for knowledge and not feeding on trash, then we can expect a lot of different flavors in our life. We can expect God's favor and God's flavor to be all over us, and that's a real happy thing. Okay, what we put in determines what we put out. In verse 28, real important verse. Let me read this to you. "The heart of the godly thinks carefully before speaking. The mouth of the wicked overflows with evil words." Real important advice. We can pollute our surroundings. We can pollute our friends with our words. Or we can stop and think, how are these words going to affect people? How are these words going to affect relationships? If I drop these words, if I drop these little word bombs, what are they going to do? Because a lot of times our words are like water balloons. We take them and we just throw them at people, and they soak everything and they mess up everything. We've got to guard the words we speak. We've got to guard the words we blog, the words we post, the words we text, the words we tweet, the words we email. And that's a hard lesson for me. I don't know about you, but there's a lot of times when I think of something and I automatically want to share it because I think this is really funny and people need to hear this. And I don't stop and think, how's this going to affect this person? How's this going to affect this relationship? I need to be a think firster before I am a speak firster. I need to stop and think, okay? And we need to all do that. It's real important. We need to be quick to listen to others. This chapter wraps it up in verse 32 and says this: "If you reject discipline, you only harm yourself. But if you listen to correction, you grow in understanding." Listen to others. Be quick to listen. Be quick to be a think firster and see how that affects your life. It'll affect your relationships. It'll give you a happy heart. Life will be a big buffet table. God bless you guys. Giddy up.